Hey, welcome back! In this video, we're going to continue crocheting this mushroom boy. We'll be doing the cap, the spots, and the final assembly. First, we're going to do the small spots, and I like to make 4 of these for the cap. In round 1, it's just 6 single crochet and a magic ring. Pull the ring tight and then join back to the first single crochet with a slip stitch. Then we can cut the yarn, making sure to leave a bit of a tail for sewing. Next we'll do the large spots, and I like to make 2 of them. In round 1, it's 6 single crochet and a magic ring. Pull the ring tight, and then I'll just put a stitch marker at the end of round 1. In round 2, we do 6 increases. So that's 2 single crochet into each stitch. And that brings us up to 12 stitches in round 2. Now we can close with a slip stitch. And cut the yarn, once again making sure to leave a bit of a tail for sewing. Next we are going to do the cap in the color of your choice. In round 1 we do 7 single crochet in a magic ring. Pull tight, and then you can put a stitch marker at the end of each round. In round 2, we are going to do 7 increases. This will bring the number of stitches in round 2 up to 14. In round 3, we do a single crochet and then an increase, and we do all of that 7 times in total to get 21 stitches in round 3. In round 4, it's 2 single crochet and then an increase, and we do that 7 times to get 28 stitches. In round 5, it's 3 single crochet and then an increase, and we do that 7 times to get 35. In round 6, we do 4 single crochet, followed by the increase, and we do that 7 times to get 42. In round 7, we do 5 single crochet and then an increase, and we do that 7 times to get 49 stitches. Round 8 is our last round of increases, and we do 6 single crochet followed by an increase, and we do that 7 times to bring us to 56 stitches in total. In round 9, we are just doing 56 single crochet a round. At the end of round 9, we're going to do a color change. So don't complete the last stitch of round 9. So here I'm halfway with the last stitch of round 9, and I'm going to do the color change to white yarn. In round 10, we're going to start decreasing, and I'm just doing those first few stitches over the tails from the color change. So in round 10, it's 2 single crochet, and then a decrease, and we do that 14 times in total to bring us down to 42 stitches. Now we're going to do our last round. So for round 11, it's a single crochet and then a decrease, and we do that 14 times to bring us to 28 stitches in total. At the end of round 11, we can remove the stitch marker and close with a slip stitch. Then we can cut the yarn, making sure to leave a long tail for sewing onto the head. Now we're going to start on the assembly, and I like to start by sewing the spots onto the cap. I'm going to start with a large spot, which I like to put to the front left of the cap. The back of the cap is where your long yarn tail is located. And just plan out how you want your spots to look. I like to place them like so, with another small spot right on top. Take the yarn tail from the magic ring of one of the large spots and insert that into the cap right where you want the spot to go. Then we're going to sew the spot on using the yarn tail from the end of round 2. To sew it in place, first grab a stitch of the cap. Then go up into the next stitch of the spot. And down into the following stitch of the spot. And then grab the next stitch of the cap. And repeat this all the way around the spot. Once you've gone all the way around, insert the yarn under the spot into the cap. Then you can tie it together with the tail from the magic ring. And just cut it short to keep it out of the way. Now you can do the rest of the spots exactly the same way. Make sure not to sew over the tails from the cap itself, as we'll use these to sew onto the head later. So I've sewn on all my spots and the cap now looks like this. The back of the cap is by this yarn tail here. And I've got the 2 large spots placed here and the smaller ones here. These 2 will be above the face. And I still have my yarn tails free for sewing onto the head. Now we're going to sew the arms onto the body. I like to place the arms 1 or 2 rounds down from the neck. Once you have an arm in position, you can grab a stitch from the body and then go up into a stitch of the arm and down into the next stitch of the arm, and repeat this across the top of the arm. Once you've gone along the top stitches of the arm, you can go back and forth along the arm and the body a few times. Then you can bring that yarn tail through to the back of the body. Now we can sew the second arm on exactly the same way. Now we can bring that yarn tail through to the same point as the first one. and tie them together. Cut the yarn tails short and insert the knot into the body. Now we're going to sew the cap onto the head. I like to place the cap on slightly towards the back, like so. First, grab the yarn tail from the magic ring and insert that 2 or 3 rounds back from the top of the head. And bring it through to the back of the body so it's out of the way. Now we're going to sew the cap onto the head using the long yarn tail. Make sure you have the cap in the position that you want. It can help to use pins here if you prefer. First, grab a stitch from the back of the head and go up into a stitch of the cap and down into the next stitch of the cap. And then grab the next stitch of the head, and we're going to repeat this all the way around the cap. As you're working, just stop and check that your cap is in the right position. Once you reach the front of the head, it's very important to make sure that your cap is symmetrical. So just check often at this point. Once you've gone around the whole cap, insert the yarn into the body and bring it through to meet the first yarn tail. Then we can knot these two together. And now your cap should be sitting firmly against the head. And your mushroom boy is now done. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the tutorial, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel.